Hello everyone, and welcome to a Survey of Art History, Part 1. So in this introductory video, I'm going to just go over some basic information that will help you get started with the course. Now the very first step will be to go under the tab that says Modules and look under the one that has listed within it the course syllabus and the study guide. I suggest that you print out both of those documents so that you have a hard copy, just so that they're easier to refer to. So this is what the study guide looks like. This is what the course syllabus looks like. I'm going to start with just this document here. So to begin with, my name is Anna Wagner, and I have the pleasure of working with you this semester. Now it's true that we'll probably never meet in person, especially because I'm on the East Coast and most of you are on the West Coast. But you can email me anytime. You can also contact me through phone, and I have my email connected to my phone. I have my phone with me all the time, unfortunately. You can call me or text me. Because of the time difference, you might find that if you call me after, say, 8 p.m. on the West Coast, I probably won't answer since it's 3 hours later here. So whenever I can't answer my phone, I just put it on silent, and then I answer it as soon as I can. So I'll always get back to you. If it ever arises that you have a question that you think would best be answered over video chat, I'm available to do that as well. Just be sure to set an appointment with me 48 hours in advance so that I'm sure to have reliable Wi-Fi connection and a quiet place to talk to you in. Okay, so what is required? Well, obviously regular access to a computer and Wi-Fi. This supplemental book thing, I'll get back to that in 1 second, but I want to go over some other information first. This course starts with prehistory, and it ends right before the Renaissance. So I know sometimes people will sign up for this course all excited about studying Michelangelo or Da Vinci. That is covered by Survey 2. If you'd like, you can sign up for Survey 2 instead of this course, because this course is not a prerequisite for Survey 2. However, we're going to be covering lots of cool stuff here too. Most students find that this course requires about 10 hours of work a week. That can vary greatly depending on the student. In the event that you decide you need to withdraw from the class, you're responsible for doing that yourself. I will not withdraw you. And then let's move down to this section here, grading. I have in this syllabus a description of how your final grade is broken down according to criteria. This is typical of many classes. The different sections, so for example, the tests, your writing homework assignments, which are referred to as blogs, your quizzes, and your 2 final writing assignments, which are topic summary and bibliography, and a final paper. These are all different sections of your final grade. So for example, your blog entries, which again are your weekly homework assignments, are worth 30% of your final grade. What does that mean? Let's imagine that you never ever did one of those, which I know you won't. I'm sure you'll do very well and everything, but let's just say that you never did one of those homework assignments and you got 0% for that section of your grade, but you completed everything else and you got 100% on everything else. If that were the case, the highest final grade you could get in this class would be a 70%. Does that make sense? If any of this doesn't make sense, please contact me as soon as possible. Since we're talking about grading, I'd like to discuss my late work policy, which is outlined right down here. The policy is that every day that an assignment is late will result in one full drop of the final letter grade for that assignment, which means if you turn an assignment that would have been 100%, if it's 1 day late, then it'll be 90%. However, I cap the deductions, so I stop taking off points after 4 days, meaning if you turned in an assignment that would have earned 100%, but you turn it in 4 days late, then the highest grade it can earn is 60%. But after the 5th day, I'll stop deducting points. So even if you turn something in that's 3 weeks late, it won't have lost any more than 40% of the grade. And turning in something and earning, say, even 40% on it is better than earning 0% on it, because earning 0 will really drop your grade. So be sure to turn in work even if it's late. Now let's say you encounter a medical or family emergency. Maybe you're an athlete and you have to travel for a game 1 week and you won't be able to complete any work that week. You need to get me a note from your coach or your doctor or a hospital, funeral home, anything like that, before the last day of the semester, so that I can be sure to give you full points for that assignment. Now, if you aren't able to get me an official note of some kind, I won't be able to give your late work full points. So be sure that you do get notes to me. Okay, another thing. There are 2 writing assignments that are due before the end of the semester that I ask that you upload into Canvas, and I truly prefer that you upload them as .doc documents, which is a Microsoft Word format. Now, some of you don't have Microsoft Word, and I understand that. It's okay. The difference there, though, is that if you upload something in an alternate format, I might not be able to go in and edit it. Whereas if you upload something in a .doc format, I will use the track changes tool in Word to go through and type directly into your document. All of my typing will appear in red, and I will point out any errors and be able to write in your document why it is you've earned the grade you have. If you encounter problems when trying to upload any of your work, please just email it to me. As long as I receive it before the due date, even if it's in an email, you won't lose any points for late work. You have blog assignments due every week, which are writing assignments. You can type those directly into Canvas. However, I do not suggest you do that. It sometimes happens that Canvas malfunctions, or maybe you lose internet service. What I suggest you do instead is type up your blog assignments in Word, or if you don't have Word, you can type them in as an email, because emails typically, especially if you're using Gmail, will automatically save your writing every few minutes, and if you're working in Word, it's easy to save. Versus if you're working directly into Canvas, I just don't want you to lose your work. So I say, type it up somewhere else and then cut and paste it into Canvas, just to be safe. There's more information in here, but I want you to read it on your own. I don't want to bore you going through every single thing. If you flip through and look here, let's talk about due dates. When you print this out yourself, you'll see that the due dates for each assignment are highlighted in yellow. However, my printer just ran out of yellow ink today. So we're going to pretend that those are highlighted in yellow. And when you're looking at the due dates, you'll notice that your blog and quiz assignments, which are due almost every week, with 2 or 3 exceptions, are due on Friday before midnight. The information for this course is broken down into modules. A module is just basically a fancy word for chapter. I didn't want to use the word chapter because chapters will make you think of books, and especially if you're working with the textbook, that can get confusing. So you'll see that each module covers different information. Now the module for the first week is an introduction to this course, its format, and also art history. So for this first week, you'll be writing your blog. Blog is just another word for weekly homework writing assignment. Your first blog is going to be designed to introduce yourself to your class members. And then the quiz for this week is a quiz on the format of the course, just so that I'm sure you understand where everything is. After the first week, we're going to go directly into the information that's covered by this course. So we're going to start with prehistory. And you'll have your first quiz and blog about actual art historical information due on February 3rd. You'll see that going through the weeks, that format repeats until you reach week 8. The module for week 8 is your midterm test, and there are 2 tests for this course, a midterm and a final. You do not need to take the tests at a testing center. You can take these tests anywhere. However, you're not allowed to use any outside resources whatsoever when taking the tests. So no notes, no books, no nothing. That might sound daunting, but really it's no big deal. Why? Because all of the information that's on both the midterm and the final can be found in that other document. Let's talk about it now. This is the study guide. So all of the information in the tests is in here. And also, the final test is not cumulative, meaning that the information on the midterm won't show up again on the final. If you flip to this page, the second page, you'll see a description of exactly what you will expect to find on the tests. So this is what the test will be made up of. And for each module, I've broken it down into a page. So I suggest that when you're working on the modules for each week, you have your printed out study guide with you so that you can go ahead and write answers into all of this so that you're studying as you go, so you don't get overwhelmed at the very end. You'll see that for each module there are potential short essay questions. I'll pick 2 of these to be covered on the test, and your answers to these have to be in 4 complete sentences. So go ahead and write those down. Down below you'll see vocab terms. Define those. Be ready to answer a short 1-sentence question about any of these terms for each of these modules. And then here we get to the figures. So on both the midterm and final, I will show 5 images, and it's going to be your job to supply the title, the culture or artist who made the artwork. However, for this course, you'll probably, with the exception of 1 or 2 images, we don't know who the artist is. The date in which it was made, and some of these are pretty wide-ranging. So like for the Venus of Willendorf here, if you listed a date that was between these dates, that you would get full points for that. That's fine. And then you also need to, for these images, state the historical or cultural significance or cultural significance of the image. So why does it matter, in other words? You'll notice that for each of these images there's a figure number. What that is a label that corresponds to this textbook, this one, right here. This is Gardner's Art Through the Ages by Fred S. Kleiner, and this here is the 15th edition, which is what those figure numbers correspond to. Now, I'm suggesting that some of you might find it helpful to purchase or have access, like say at a library, to this textbook, because the course and also the study guide are based on the format of this book. So you can see, for example, your first art history module is about prehistory, and if you flip through this book, let's find prehistory. All of the figure numbers and vocab terms and answers can be found in this chapter about prehistory. So we were talking about the Venus of Willendorf when I was looking at that study guide with you just a second ago, and I said the figure number corresponds to the figure number in the textbook. So you'll see it begins with a number right here, and figure is just a fancy word for image. So figure number 14, and then it'll give you the title, where this object was found, when it was made, what it's made out of, where it is today. And in some cases with the images, there'll even be a little description of its significance, which is exactly the kind of information that you'll need to list on your test, except you don't need to get into where it was found or where it is. Just culture, title, date. Okay, back to the course syllabus. After the midterm, the same format as before resumes with a blog and a quiz due every week, leading up to your final test. But also, towards the end of the semester, you'll have 2 written assignments. The first is a final paper topic and bibliography due on the 28th before midnight of April, and a final paper which is due before midnight on May 19th. The description of those 2 assignments can be found after this list of due dates. So here is a description, beginning with a description of your final paper, topic, summary, and bibliography. This is a kind of mini writing assignment that is designed to get you thinking about your final paper, and so that I can check it and be sure that you're on the right track. Now, your final paper is going to be a comparison, contrast of 2 artworks, but they have to be artworks that are covered within the time periods covered within this course. Basically what I'm saying is this course goes from prehistory to just before the Renaissance, so you can't choose to study artwork that was created during the Renaissance or after, because that's too modern. However, if you want to do a comparison and contrast of images that were not covered by this course, but do fall into that time period, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. If you have an idea that's not a comparison and contrast thesis, but still is relevant to the course, run it by me. I'm open to reading a different kind of paper, as long as it's appropriate for the class. Your topic summary and bibliography is short, just a little description of what you chose to research and why, and then a list of your sources in MLA format. So I flipped through a couple more pages, and this here is an example of what your topic summary and bibliography will look like. So you're just using that as a tool to get you started thinking about your final paper. And then your final paper itself, here, this last page is a description of that assignment, is 1,000 words long at least. If it's less than 1,000 words, you will lose points. If it's over 1,000 words, that's fine. But don't ramble. That's what I'm trying to say. So if your paper is 20 pages long, but it's off topic and nothing makes sense, I would rather read 1,000 concise words than a bunch of disconnected thoughts. If you have any questions about it or anything else, feel free to email me at any time. Also, if you would like to run by me any writing assignments before they're due, that even includes your blogs, be sure to email me your work at least 3 days before it's due. I'll go through, I'll write notes within it of things you might change, just in order to earn as many points as possible, and then I'll email it back to you. And I'm going to cut myself off right there so that I don't overwhelm you with information. However, I encourage you to contact me at any time. I'm here to help, and I look forward to working with you.